Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. It is a beautiful snowy day outside today, so I thought it was the perfect time to take you outside in my garden, which is in a Zone 5B, and talk a little bit about winter interest and some of the things that I have done to try to keep the interest in my garden during the times when it's snowy. But it's also just beautiful out, so I thought you would enjoy a walk about the garden. All right, let's go. So I'm starting up here on my deck garden, and I actually leave these pots out during the winter just for a bit of color. And I have a little sphere in this one over here with some hydrangea spent blooms at the bottom, just covering up the empty soil. And in this pot, when the snow melts, I have some gorgeous colored rocks that help to create some wintered interest. You can see I have a winter sowing. This is my first one. This is my black Prince snapdragons. So we'll see how those do over the winter. I've left all of my lace cap hydrangeas up, and this is the Diamond Rouge hydrangea. And isn't it beautiful in the snow? I absolutely think it's gorgeous. Over here we have two very tall viburnums. And this is so funny because these are where the squirrels have decided to store a couple of bulbs that they dug up from my garden. There's one there, and well, it looks like they came back. Oh no, the other one is still there as well. I'll show you that. Hanging out over here in this little branch. Kind of crazy. I'm not sure. That one actually looks like it might be an allium, which is really bizarre that they have touched it. I'm going to take it out. Let's see. Yeah, this very well could be an allium. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just looking at the purple on the bottom there. Definitely not a daffodil and highly unlikely to be a tulip. And I'm looking at, well, it could be a tulip, I guess. I'm not sure. All right, well, such is life. The squirrels are pretty pesky these days, right? So you can see that these are really pretty in terms of structure, but they also provide a really beautiful interest with their bark. Over time, as they age, they give these speckled gray and black branches, and they're just really gorgeous to look at. And the snow catches in the little cracks and crevices as well. Over there we have a little lime hydrangea. And then I think I told you that I cut up my Christmas tree every year. And so what I did is pop it into some of the vessels that are around the garden. So I popped some in here because there's just a juga that's left in these. And then over here, I have taken some of the hydrangea blooms and popped them into this raspberry just to help catch a little bit of the snow. I think it's so pretty. This bench also looks really beautiful in the wintertime. So having seating in your garden actually does provide focal points for you during the winter, if you leave it out. I like to have quite a bit of all-season seating and furniture so that I don't have to take it in and out every year. And this Virginia, I've pointed this out to you probably several times now, but it really is beautiful up against the snow. And then I have 9-bark throughout the garden. This is 9-bark, and it has this very shaggy bark that peels away over time. As it gets older, it turns this white color. When it's new, it has this beautiful rusty color. So really a gorgeous plant to have in the wintertime. Also obelisks, such as these, make a really great focal point in the wintertime because you don't have to take them down. Anything that's metal, such as trellises, can be beautiful. And you know, I installed this garden lighting this year, and so I've left those out during the winter, and they have provided some beauty during the winter time as well. Obviously, arborvitaes are beautiful in the winter time. They really do catch the snow, but they're also evergreen, which provides interest all the way through the winter. Here's what the Pinky Winky hydrangea looks like covered in snow. Isn't that gorgeous? We've caught some snow on the coral berries as well, which is part of the reason why I just kind of left these up, even though I cut back a lot of the phlox. You can hear the snow is crunchy under my feet today. Now you'll see I have stone throughout the garden, and that is absolutely wonderful for winter interest. You can see how the snow just kind of coats the tops of them. If the snow gets deep around them, the snow is one of the first things to melt off of the rocks because they collect the heat. And so then you start to see lines of rocks around the garden, which I think is really pretty. Some people enjoy stone and others are not as excited about it, but I really like it. Now I left my Rose of Sharon to have its little buds, which collect the snow, as well as the seed heads on this Tian Shen 7 sunflowers. And this Tian Shen will also eventually have really cool bark similar to the 9 bark. Let me see if I can get in here well enough so you can see. It is starting to do some peeling down here, but as this plant ages, it will show more and more of that over the years. And blueberries, they have new growth that looks bright red during the winter months, which is really pretty. These blueberries are fairly new to my garden, just a couple years old, but they have added quite a bit in terms of fall color as well. And then obviously throughout my garden, you'll see quite a bit of boxwood, and I like to prune them into balls. Some people like different shapes. But that's the shape that I like most of mine in. I have some of them that are more in a pyramidal or cone shape. And then I have privets here. These are golden privets and golden vickery privets, and they keep their leaves pretty well through the winter. So those provide some really nice structure. This hawthorn, I'm going to be doing some trimming soon, you guys. I'm going to be cutting this branch back because it has gotten rather heavy and I'm worried about it, kind of bringing the rest of the branch down. So I want to cut it back to take off this giant water sprout that is really tall, that has grown and weighted down that branch. We'll be doing that soon. I'll probably put that in a video for you guys so you can see how we do that. So this little cherub right here provides some winter interest as well with the iron. Can leave that all year round. And then the pieris that I have also provides wintergreen interest. This one will bloom white, and if you can see, it's putting some of its buds out already right here. I have some evergreens as well that I'm growing in the way back garden back there. I'm also planning to do some work to add on another section to the compost bin in the way back, so I will share that work with you guys as well. You remember we planted this Jelena witch hazel this year, and it is blooming. Isn't that gorgeous? I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get a little closer for you. So you can see the color on those blooms. I'm not sure if this camera even does it justice, but it's a gorgeous red pink that fades into a bright yellow on the edges. And that's also next to another pieris. And obviously I leave the grass up. This is the Hakona Cloa grass. I leave that out all winter because it looks beautiful both when the snow is on it as well as when the snow melts and everything else is kind of brown. It's another pinky winky hydrangea covered in snow. You can see I have some evergreen branches over here as well in my galvanized tub. And this has been really cute. I added one of the Gigalumi solar lights in the middle of this, gosh, I don't even know what you call it, but it's an iron kind of cover, and it lights up at night and it's really pretty. I put away my bird bath, but these small copper kettles have water in them when it melts for the birds, and I can leave those out all year round. And I have a little bird cage and a hanging star, and these are also made out of iron or some type of metal, and so those can be left out all year as well for interest. Another bark that is wonderful in the winter is the bark of the oak leaf hydrangeas. It has a beautiful color and it's also shaggy and kind of peeling. So those have really great all-season interest in my mind. We have this kind of little vignette over here where I have my garden bench for seating. And a fern that stays evergreen almost all year round is this one down here. I don't know what it's called. I got it from a family property. I'll have to try to do some research on that. More pieris with the evergreen color. And then you can see that there's some beautiful snow falling on all of the bloom stalks that I left up from the heucheras. And sometimes I even get baby heucheras that come as a result of not clipping these back too soon. There's always some pros and cons to having a tidier garden versus leaving things up throughout the winter. And this weeping spruce is looking really lovely, isn't it pretty? Hopefully this year, this top branch that I've trained upwards with the stake will be firm enough where I can take the stake off. So we'll see. I have some euonymus in here, the golden euonymus. I may move that this year. I have a couple of different plants of that in this garden bed. But you know, as things kind of get bigger, you have to move things around. So these Valley Rose pieris are absolutely stunning this time of year when the snow comes out. Again, I'm not sure that you can see the colors as stunning as I can, but it's a really bright pop against that snow. Then we have the variegated boxwood down here. We'll just look down the long border. You can see I've put some evergreen branches in the pots over here. And this azalea stays evergreen as well, so that's really nice because it definitely provides winter interest as well. And autumn joy sedum never fails because it has those beautiful broad heads that collect the snow atop it. And we have a quick fire hydrangea back there collecting some snow as well. And the golden mophead cypress. The trellis, when it first snows, looks gorgeous before the wind comes through and dusts it off, as it collects the snow on each of the circles, just accentuating the curves of it. And this quick fire hydrangea looks so pretty too. We have lots and lots of buds covering this forsythia. So I'm expecting lots of blooms this spring. Let's see if we can get through this gate. We have some azaleas on this front path, along with that ice bog rosemary. This was something I had never heard of before, but I found at my Lowe's, I think, and it's beautiful. Kind of silvery like rosemary. And lavender. Repetition and symmetry can also really be helpful in a winter garden, as you see with these boxwoods that are lining the path. It definitely gives the eye something to follow back. In this garden, the concrete planters become a bit more of the structure and interest, along with the planters that are behind that have the tutors in them, with the evergreen branches and the hydrangeas in the middle of those. So pretty when it snows, especially when it's just this kind of light dusting like this. I do still need to come back and cut back this Gara right here. We got some of it the other day. Now, the bark on this crabapple is absolutely gorgeous because it has this very bronzy red hue to it. And when it snows, it stands out even further. And this true blue festuca grass has stayed evergreen so far all winter. Very pretty. And we have the beautiful juniper, which is a little bit more bronze than blue right now, with some pretty boxwoods on either side, and the different forms and shapes of the bushes. The vase shape of the elderberry, the prickly shape of the roses, and the upright habit of the viburnums, all adding to that interest. This front sun garden bed is also no slouch when it comes to winter interest. Just the shape of the weeping crabapple is beautiful. But then when you contrast it with the evergreen of the boxwood, and you add in the upright vase shape of the barberries and the pillow tops of the sedum and the fluffy bobo hydrangeas, it all just kind of comes together. Every little bud and every little branch gets accentuated when the snow falls. We have the variegated boxwood in this garden bed as well. I'm hoping over the course of this next year they will start to grow a little more, because they're kind of hidden right now during the winter by these mums. And I would love them to be showing up and over the mums. So I probably will come through and cut back some of the mums so that for the rest of the winter I will be able to see those. At least cutting the mums back in front of those particular shrubs so I can see them. And from the other side, it looks nice as well, with that oak leaf hydrangea in the middle, providing some weight to the garden bed. Definitely a bit of a winter scene here today. Now, I showed you that the hellebores had started to bloom this last week, or actually a couple of weeks ago. And what they do when it snows like this is they kind of curl up a bit, tuck their heads under, and wait for the warmth to come back. So they are an incredibly resilient plant. No other bloom that I know can take snow and cold and come back like the hellebore. They are all just waiting, nodding their heads until the sun comes out. Now that things are cut back and I can see the structure of these 3 blue shadow Fothergilla bushes, I am very happy with the way that I planted them. I think they'll provide a nice little coverage over here. And they all look like they have buds, so I think they're all very happy in their new spots. And then we're still working on this garden. Always a challenge between houses. One of the things I'm thinking about right now is adding a couple of raised garden beds right in front of the fountain. Just kind of dotting in front of it. It's not really a fountain. It's actually kind of just a bird bath right now because we don't have it working as a fountain. But I think you know what I mean. Anyways, putting a couple of raised garden beds here. But I'm still trying to think that through because the deer do come out here and what that would look like, what I would plant in it, that kind of thing. But I definitely I want to do something here. And then out where these 2 garden beds are, I want to bring them a little bit closer together. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to elongate this area from the maple tree out, or if I want to elongate this garden bed towards the maple tree. So things to think about this season as I'm gardening. But because I bought those new shrubs, I'm definitely going to eventually need space for them. And I need to think through where that will be. I can't wait to show them to you. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this walkabout and getting a look at some of the things you can do, some of the plants you can use, some of the different ornamental things you can put in your garden to keep it looking beautiful all year round. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.